As I mentioned before we went to break there, I was so glad that Elon Musk had an extra $44 billion sitting around so he could try to protect free speech. And he's done a fine job, but there are a lot of problems still. $44 billion to buy Twitter, now X. I still call it Twitter X, whatever. I'm old school that way. I used to be stuck at about 8,000 followers on Twitter. I mean, I'd get to 10 or 11, bam, I was back to 8 or 7. Bam, back to 7. And it just went on. Finally, I just gave up on it until he bought it, and now we're slowly building again. My next guest knows a lot about that. Tom Renz, attorney, author, political analyst, joining me now. Tom, nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
Honored to be here again, Steve. How are you?
I'm well. Look, this whole social media thing, look, it is the way people communicate today, whether you use X or Facebook or Instagram or this neighborhood thing. There's all sorts of social media platforms out there that people communicate. It's how people, and still today, we were just talking about in the break, people get censored. I was at 8 or 10, 8 or now I'm in the mid-30s. I'm at 33, 34,000, whatever. You're at almost 300,000. But it's not easy. We were just talking about how you got nailed yesterday. People are still deplatformed silenced because there are still, either it's people or computers, AI, they're knocking people down and silencing us even today. It's remarkable in America we have to talk about censorship, isn't it?
Yeah, it's substantial. And, I mean, I pop on the scene during COVID, and censorship was one of the greatest issues we dealt with, right? Because we wanted to get information out. I put stuff out there that I could put in a court of law that was, I testified in, I put my name on it. I would have lost my license if I was lying. And yet I was told I was putting out misinformation, disinformation. Well, it wasn't. And so without the ability to communicate, we're in trouble. So this is really a foundational issue that we're seeing in the country.
It is a foundational issue because vigorous conversation, vigorous debate, whether it's political or religious or whatever it might be, that is the foundational. I mean, look, the First Amendment of the United States Constitution is the envy of the world. It's been true since the day I was born. It's been true for 250 years almost. This is what we are as Americans, vigorous conversation, arguments, disagreements. And yet you have these folks on the left that think, well, you've offended somebody. You can't do this. You can't do that. Whether it's COVID, transgenderism, pick your cultural issue of the day. They want to silence you. If you don't agree with them and are in lockstep with them and parrot their beliefs, they want to shut you off completely, don't they?
Well, the irony to that is the fact that their beliefs offend me, right? Why is it that my side shut down when their beliefs are just as offensive to me as mine are to them? I mean, listen, you do what you want to do if you're a 45-year-old adult that wants to, make decisions about how you live your life. But if you tell me that it's okay for my child to have a surgery that's going to permanently disable them, and a boy trying to be a girl or a girl trying to be a boy, I think that's offensive. I think that's horrible. But my side is told that we're hateful, and we're told that we can't say that. The other side is told that they're loving and kind, even though they are, in fact, actually creating a permanent physical injury with children. But we can't have the debate, right? We can't have the debate because we might trigger some snowflake or some other sort of thing. And unfortunately, as an attorney, one of the things that I see is not every case is appropriate for a court. Sometimes if we want to fix things, we have to fix the legislation. And that's really something that requires us to be able to talk.
Yeah, in the court of public opinion, though, free speech continues to win. I mean, you look at the number of users on X now. It continues to grow while places like MSNBC are hemorrhaging viewers. CNN is, axing staff. Because we are the new media, you and me and the people here in places like X. We are the new media. We are the people that are getting information to people, and we'll let them decide. Look, this whole idea of censoring misinformation and disinformation and malinformation, not the job of the government. I mean, we did have yellow journalism in this country, and I know that I used to see the National Enquirer in the checkout lane of the supermarket, and monkeys flew to space with Elvis, and nobody's running around screaming about misinformation and disinformation then, Tom. I mean, so maybe it's true. Maybe Elvis did fly to the moon with monkeys. I mean, how would I know, right?
Well, I mean, I suppose that's possible. I've heard we didn't even go to the moon, actually, and that we have a flat Earth, and that there's all sorts of things.
Right.
But at the end of the day, Musk, I think, has done a wonderful service to America and to the world in opening up X. The problem is what we don't know is the laws are so messy right now that we don't know if he's still getting federal, pressure. I mean, the FBI, we don't know what sort of access they still have to X. We don't know whether there's any sort of buttons that they're pushing. We don't know if there's just holdovers from the old days. We don't know. We do know that the CEO of X said that freedom of speech is not freedom of reach, right? Well, that's troubling because if a tree falls in the forest, no one's there to hear it. Who cares, right? We have to be able to get the word out on equal footing. And I'm hoping that with the new administration that we see where it's at. This is something that I'm willing to fight over if we have to. But, this free speech issue has got to be really front and center on everything, because we can't move forward as a nation on any of the issues we're dealing with if we can't talk about them.
I agree. At least I'm hopeful, Tom, that we have a sympathetic ear in Donald Trump, and I believe we do, because he knows how important social media was, not only in helping him to win, but knocking him down in 2020 and dragging him through the mud. So he understands all sides of this. And I don't know what the truth is behind the curtain either. I don't know how they make the sausage over there at X or Facebook or any place else, but apparently Zuckerberg wants to be buddies with the president now. We've seen this. I mean, seriously, Mark Zuckerberg wants to pal around with Donald Trump. Trump will probably let him, because he'll let him in, and maybe there's a glimmer of hope here that freedom of speech wins. I mean, that's my hope. What do you say?
Well, I think there's a good chance it wins. Like I said, I think there's a desire to see it out there. We just have to be careful. And remember, right now, the way it works, our laws are so messed up that you can get put on a terror watch list or something like that. And you actually don't have the legal right to know that you've been put on that list. So you can be on a watch list, you can be suppressed, you can be censored, you have all these different things going. The government can use its full power against you in many, many ways. And you don't even have the right. If I file a FOIA, if I sue, I may not even have the right to find out that I'm on that list. That is a mind-blowing thing, especially when our rights can be limited, including our right to speak freely and privately without censorship, because we're on that list. It's really an egregious thing.
It really, and I'll be honest with you. At my age, if you haven't made a list or two, what the hell have you done with your life? I mean,
I think I've made them all.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate that. And I hope I'm right there with you, because I think I've made a few along the way myself. What are you up to these days? You're writing books, you're posting on the internet. Give the folks the final word here, Tom.
We're still fighting. We're getting ready. We've got a big telethon on December 12th, for godfamilycountry.org. For godfamilycountry.org. That's the charitable branch of the work that I do. We're still fighting for freedom across the country. We're doing everything we can to support the MAGA agenda, try and stop. I mean, we've got a lot of years of cleanup to do to get rid of this Biden nonsense. And we also have a lot of bad guys around the world who, they got beat back with Donald Trump's election, but by no means are they gone. So we're still doing the lawfare. We're still doing the fighting. We're still fighting for change in every way possible. And praying that people find us at Tom Renz and TomRenz.com and on the Tom Renz Show.
There you go. Tom Renz, everybody. RENZ, for those of you spelling and keeping score at home. Follow him on Twitter, X, me too. Give me a follow. Let's grow this thing. Tom, thank you as always.
Thank you, Steve.
Really appreciate it. There you have it. When we come back, we're going to talk a bit about the value of coins, a little bit of sleuthing to see what's in your pocket, all right? Some fun after the break.